Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital spoilers: on the derailed Dalmatia mission, Jocelyn was hurt and taken to the hospital. According to General Hospital teasers, Jocelyn Jacks may sustain injuries and be taken to the hospital during a failed Dalmatia mission. After Jack Brennan's speech in the August 5th episode, things do seem a little concerning. Anna Devane expressed concerns about Jocelyn's safety as soon as she was informed about the entire operation, including her most recent recon mission with Vaughn. And if something went wrong, Anna wondered how Brennan would handle Carly Spencer. Naturally, Brennan played down the possibility that anything bad would occur because, in his opinion, this is standard stuff. Brennan even asserted boldly that he had every reason to think Jocelyn and Vaughn would return from Dalmatia unscathed. That kind of phrase is usually a dead giveaway for danger on soap operas. It's more likely that Vaughn and Jocelyn won't be okay the more Brennan gives the impression that they will. When this mission unavoidably fails, as Anna worries, Jocelyn and Vaughn appear to be on the verge of landing in hazardous terrain. Now that Anna has discovered Brennan's Dalmatia clue, which corresponds with the tote bag Jason Morgan recalls Britt Westbourne carrying for the Five Poppies resort there, she has even more cause for concern. According to GH spoilers, Jason will finally go looking for Britt, which will cause some serious issues for Jocelyn's mission with Vaughn. Will Joss have to deal with the brutal realities of being a WSB agent and witness the speed at which her life might be in jeopardy? Brennan might be in a difficult situation because Jocelyn might sustain major injuries and need to be taken to a nearby hospital. Brennan might have to keep Carly in the dark while keeping an eye on the emergency. Jocelyn will survive the chaos, but since it's the cover story, she might find it difficult to explain how she was hurt while tending to an elderly friend of her grandmother's in Australia. Jocelyn might be forced to tell more lies as a result, and Brennan might be forced to hide more significant information from Carly. According to General Hospital spoilers, Brennan will need to modify his plans as he goes along, so keep checking back for all the latest information. Jason's demand, Laura's urgent appeal, and Sonny's astonishment. Danny Morgan will aid out Rocco Falconeri. Laura Collins calls Dante Falconeri in the meantime. Harrison Chase also makes an effort to reason with Michael Corinthos. Harrison Chase's intercourse. Let's begin with Harrison Chase, who just concluded a discussion with Willow Tate. Despite her apparent regret, the nurse refuses to accept accountability for her conduct. Willow told Carly Spencer that she had always been correct about Drew Kane. Willow, however, never expressed regret for the choices she made that first caused this situation. Carly informed Willow that she wasn't buying it, and Nellie Benson followed suit. The nurse is currently searching for any means to regain custody of the children. No one will put their trust in her so easily. That takes patience and time. Chase tries to speak with Michael anyway. But according to the father, he doesn't want to hear it at this time. Willow Tate's confidant Willow ultimately turns to Isaiah Gannon when she is in the hospital. Isaiah appears taken aback and not anticipating her. Willow then pleads with him to keep something private. Willow might eventually confess to someone that she was the one who singled out Sasha Gilmore Corbin and Daisy Gilmore Corinthos, I wonder. It is evident from Lulu Spencer's proposition General Hospital that she has a personal mission. In order to form an alliance, the blonde will turn to Carly. The older blonde consents to give it some thought, but only if Lulu makes a commitment. Fans can also anticipate a connection from Sonny Corinthos in tomorrow's episode. After inviting Dante to her office, Laura requests that he keep the material totally confidential. Justine Turner confronts Sonny elsewhere. Additionally, Danny gives Rocco some advice. Jason Morgan turns to Liesl Albrecht with a particular favor. Tracy Quartermain also announces a significant shift at Deception. Therefore, the matriarch might listen to Jen Sidwell and make a mistake. Week of August 11th General Hospital spoilers: Britt rebels, Jocelyn and Vaughn in danger zone, Drew's Willow plot. According to General Hospital spoilers for the week of August 11th to 15th, Britt Westbourne will display her rebellious side while Drew Kane will continue to plot. After they settle into the Five Poppies resort, Jocelyn Jacks and Vaughn will also be snooping, so let's discuss what's in store. Initially, Vaughn and Jocelyn would pretend to be newlyweds gathering intelligence in secret. There may be some obstacles and near misses along the way, but Jack Brennan anticipates that Jocelyn and Vaughn will learn everything they can while they are at the resort. Naturally, throughout this assignment, Vaughn and Jocelyn's feelings for one another can become more complex than they had expected. Posing as recently married lovers could make it more difficult to distinguish between them and possibly result in their actually sharing a bed. Britt, on the other hand, will display her rebellious nature when she defies orders. It sounds like Britt will slip out since she's tired of being pent up and might even cause some controversy for herself. It's simple to picture Britt and Jocelyn running into each other at some point, or at the very least, nearly running into the mother in a humorous scene. In any event, Jocelyn's job will take some unexpected turns, so be sure to check back for updates on everything she finds. Anna Devane discovers Britt might be involved in the research that Professor Henry Hank Dalton is working on because of the Dalmatia tip that Brennan gave her. Jason Morgan might hear that news from Anna and come away from it persuaded that he needs to find out more about Britt. Jason will indeed come to the Five Poppies Resort sooner or later, so he should be there when Britt, Jocelyn and Vaughn are all on the premises. The GH writers are undoubtedly laying the groundwork for some major revelations and mayhem. Jason's involvement in all of this will put Jocelyn in risk, so be sure to keep an eye out for any unexpected turns. Brennan appears ready to comply with one of Carly Spencer's schemes in the interim, possibly a romantic one. Given that Brennan and Carly's relationship obviously has an expiration date, this might be the quiet before the storm. Later on, Carly will undoubtedly be incensed that Brennan hired Jocelyn as a WSB agent. Following an enraged Discovery, Lulu Spencer and Dante Falconeri will be ready to retaliate. Liesl Albrecht might come up with a crazy approach to make her relationship with Rocco Falconeri stronger and make his parents even more determined to stop it. Last but not least, Drew will probably keep planning, working on his long-term retaliation against Curtis Ashford and possibly hatching a plan to reclaim Willow Tate. According to General Hospital spoilers, Drew will look for a way to move on from his setbacks, so keep an eye out. GH spoilers, after learning what Nina did, Michael begs her to commit Willow. According to General Hospital teasers, Michael Corinthos is worried about Willow Tate, his ex-wife, and her actions. In her most recent outburst, following her disastrous wedding to Drew Kane, Willow urgently begged to see her children, Wiley and Amelia Corinthos. Given her current mental state, Michael has informed Willow that he is concerned about her behavior and does not believe it is in their children's best interests for them to visit her. Michael will recognize Willow's need for mental health treatment once he finds out that she was the one who gaslighted Sasha Gilmore Corbin and forced her to flee Port Charles with their daughter, Daisy Gilmore. Michael Corinthos begins to recognize the reality Willow's actions continue to worry Michael, who is unwilling to reconsider allowing Willow to see the kids. This makes Willow even more insane since she won't let herself be separated from the kids. Since he presently has full custody, Michael is adamant about following the judge's orders, but Willow will stop at nothing to see her kids. Michael would begin to question whether Willow's unhappiness was related to her gaslighting Sasha. He simply thought it was someone after Sonny Corinthos, but now he's considering the possibilities. Michael Corinthos overhears Drew Kane blackmailing Willow Tate already. Drew has discovered that Willow gaslights Sasha, and he may use this information as leverage to get Willow to return to him. When Drew sees Willow at the hospital, he implores her to return to him and make amends. Willow declines, of course, and Drew informs her that she is going to reconsider. He would threaten Willow that if she didn't, he would be clean with Michael about Willow's role in gaslighting Sasha. The fact that Drew is aware astounds, shocks, and surprises Willow. At this point, Michael shows in and listens in on the discussion. Willow is informed by Drew that if she doesn't return to him or Michael finds out why Sasha and Daisy left Port Charles, she will never be able to regain custody of her kids. Despite his shock and anger at learning the truth, Michael Corinthos urges Nina Reeves to commit Willow Tate because he knows Willow needs a lot of attention. Although he would share what he has discovered with Willow's mother, Nina Reeves, who is currently separated from her daughter, he would still pay her a visit. Nina won't appear shocked, and she might tell Michael that she knew the truth but wasn't sure how to respond to it. Given her position as Willow's mother, Michael would advise her to commit Willow to Ferncliff and send her there. It is in her best interest, and perhaps she will be able to re-establish a relationship with her children if she eventually receives the assistance she requires. Even though it could be difficult, Nina might agree and choose to start the process. How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Will Michael discover that Willow was deceiving Sasha, in your opinion? Will Nina be persuaded to commit Willow by Michael? Is Nina able to follow through on it? In the meantime, without alerting Willow that she was involved, Nina approached Rick by the pool and asked him to represent Willow in the custody dispute. Rick was hesitant. He reminded her that keeping things from her at the wedding didn't work out so well. Nina gave a nod. I'll make an effort to present the concept to her. However, I need you to do it covertly if she declines. Curtis was talking to Trina at Aurora, updating her on Drew's unraveling and the wedding fiasco. Perhaps Kai had begun to see things more clearly, he remarked. He betrayed me even if he had, Trina remarked. That remains unchanged. She was gently urged to maintain an open mind by Curtis. Sometimes forgiveness can be found on the other side of smoldering bridges. All you need to do is listen to your heart and gaze into Kai's eyes. She saw Kai back at the pool. When Rocco came to see how Brooklyn was doing, she was sitting close by, still shaken after her altercation with Lulu. Thank you, he said. I wouldn't have realized I had a second mother if it weren't for you. Lulu was still boiling at Laura's workplace when her mother came to warn her. Laura remarked, Rocco will only want it more if you prevent him from seeing Albrecht. Don't ignore him. After a restful night, Willow was at last able to think clearly as she sat quietly in borrowed sweats at Liz's house. She informed Liz that, like trusting Drew, going to Carly's was a mistake. She said, I'm not sure how I missed it. I allowed him to ruin my life. Nina came later, dressed in new clothing. Willow opened the door for her, but made it obvious that she was only talking to her out of need. She yelled, what you did was disgusting. You and Drew are no longer welcome in my ear. It is up to me what happens next. Willow was not listening to Nina's attempts to defend her behavior. Perhaps I wouldn't have lost my children if you had been honest with me from the start. Nina texted Rick after she left. Soon after, he showed up to Liz's and offered to act as Willow's pro bono attorney. He clarified that they needed to wait until October and that she needed to avoid doing anything that would damage her reputation in the meanwhile. He remarked, you need to restore your credibility. We'll demonstrate to Michael that you can follow the rules. Willow concurred. She thanked Liz for everything and went for a walk after Rick departed. Nina located Maxie by the pool and attempted to clarify. Maxie remarked, I hate to say that, but if you'd just come clean a year ago. Nina claimed that she was altered by Drew's impact on Willow. She might have done something from which she would never recover if things had progressed further. An action that might have cost her everything. Maxie's eyes narrowed. What are you discussing? I'm not sure, Nina muttered. But she might never see her children again if it ever gets out. Trina, meantime, located Kai once more. Did he finally see Drew for who he was? She inquired. Although Kai acknowledged that he regretted the way things turned out, he still thought he had made the right decision. Trina remarked, then nothing has changed. What he has done to my family is still hidden from you. I am unable to forgive that. Kai realized something had changed when she left. Final. Rocco later located Brooklyn once more and attempted to comfort her. He remarked, I know you didn't want me to see that file. However, I'm happy I did. It's possible that my mother never told me the truth. With finality in her voice, Portia entered Curtis' office. This state of limbo is no longer acceptable to me. I brought us into this, and Drew poses a threat. I'm taking us out. Today, I'm stepping down. Curtis attempted to soothe her. We're really close. It's finished if Drew moves to Washington, D.C. All we need to do is ensure that he never learns who told Willow the truth. Drew confronted Michael at the Quartermaines in an attempt to make one final plea for Willow's custody. Drew responded, let her see her children. Michael remained unmoved. You ruined our life. You want to be noble now? Drew maintained that it was no longer about him. Consider your children. Their mom. Michael laughed. Aren't you the reason she didn't see me in Germany? You made sure she didn't come near. Michael became furious. All of this could have been avoided if we had seen one another. She may still have children. Drew gave a nod. Consider your life without your mom. Now consider your children. Don't force them to live that way. Lulu admitted that she was being pulled into a history she didn't want to go back to while she was back at Laura's workplace. Laura got it. She had experienced that firsthand. But the truth was what Rocco needed. Help him, she murmured softly. Even if it is painful. Rocco told Brooklyn at the pool that he didn't believe his mother would have ever told him. There was more to Willow's decline, Nina informed Maxie in a quiet voice. She might never see her kids again if it leaks. Willow appeared on the doorstep of the Quartermaines. She told Michael she was sorry. I can think clearly now, she remarked. I broke up with Drew. Can I see the children? Drew came to Liz's with the hopes of seeing Willow. Liz was standing in the entrance. She said, she's not here. And I don't think it's a good idea to see you, even if she were. With sad eyes, Drew remarked, I never wanted her to find out that way. Liz remarked, I'm sure the person who told her believed it was the only option. Drew froze. Was that not Curtis? Complete circle on GH, will Willow and Chase turn to one another? Would Willow get in the way of Chase and Brooklyn's relationship? Are Brooklyn and Chase from General Hospital having difficulty in paradise? What's worse is that he might return to Willow. Chase, Brooklyn, and no baby Chase has been found to be unable to father a biological kid. He has accepted this, as has his wife, Brooklyn. She unexpectedly discovered that Gio was her son as the couple was en route to adopting a child. BLQ has been going through a tough moment because her new son doesn't want to interact with her. Chase is a wonderful husband who has been there for his wife through this difficult period. However, he is eager to have a kid and would like to start the adoption process. Brooklyn informed him she wasn't ready and wanted to wait till Gio came around after he told her how he felt. Regretfully, given the current pace, it may take some time. The detective from the PCPD appeared to be very disappointed. Might this be the start of the end? Is Willow in the wings waiting? Willow's life is a complete mess. She hates her mother, lost custody of her children, blew up her marriage, and allowed Drew to rule her. There aren't many people she can turn to. Since moving to Port Charles, Willow has been in a relationship with a man. After Chase, she moved on to Michael, and finally, naturally, to Drew. She appears to be terrified of being by herself. Willow can rely on Chase as a friend because he is a good man. He would never have considered cheating on Brooklyn because he has been deeply in love with her. However, if he begins spending time with Willow, old sentiments may surface and the couple's relationship may become strained. Chase would be making a grave error by doing this, as Brooklyn is far more beneficial to him than Willow ever was. She abandoned him for his best buddy after cheating on him. If Chase returns to Willow, fans will lose their minds. Are you going to? Please share your thoughts in the comments area. General Hospital spoilers, fans voice their opinions, Port Chuck needs a Cassadine, really? According to GH teasers, viewers are complaining about the popular soap opera's dull plots and longing for a shock to rekindle their passion. Although Liesl Albrecht's fire and Britt Westbourne's reappearance keep things simmering, the program appears to be falling behind a little in terms of coherent narratives. Without any improvement, Brooklyn Quartermaine's monotonous drama with Giovanni Gio Palmieri is becoming tiresome. The stale feud between Lulu Spencer and Dante Falconeri doesn't make us happy that she came out of her coma. Furthermore, we want to go into a coma ourselves because of Drew Quartermaine's intolerable antics. To liven things up, a number of fans are demanding a Cassadine return. Nicholas Cassadine, Spencer Cassadine, or even Victor Cassadine would do. Which bad guy will pick up the phone? Fans sick of boring stories. There's a lot of talk on Facebook that Port Charles needs a change. The return of Britt and Liesl is exciting, and Jason Morgan's romance has promise, but Brooklyn's incessant sobs over Joe's rejection of her and Dante and Lulu's trivial arguments seem pointless. Harrison Chase is a bystander, Lois Cerullo is marginalized, and Lucy Coe isn't plotting. Tracy Quartermaine doesn't have a good opponent in Ezra Boyle. Fans are pleading on Sonny Corinthos to dump Drew because they are so tired of him. The return of a Cassadine might save the day, but who would it be? Which Cassadine might cause controversy? Imagine the vacuum left in Laura Spencer's life by Lucky Spencer's recent departure, filled by Nicholas storming back from prison. Facebook fans long for him to return to cause mayhem in the family, but Spencer's comeback, without Esme Prince, would also brighten Port Charles. More audacious, a resurrected Victor or a ghost like Stefan or Stavros Cassadine might wreak havoc. A Cassadine might take advantage of the possible power vacuum since Laura is running for re-election this fall. Will Spencer, Nicholas, or an unexpected antagonist rise to the occasion and restore the show's edge? Can Port Chuck's soul be saved by a Cassadine? Fans attest that a Cassadine might light the fire as GH struggles with stale plots. Could a Victor-level plotter take over the canvas, or will Nicholas or Spencer make a comeback to shock Laura's family? Some fans seem to be clamoring for drama to overshadow Brooke Lynn's tears and Drew's drag. Will the show be saved by a Cassadine? What are your thoughts? Who won with their funny scenes last week, Albrecht from GH or Susan from Days? The amusing times we weren't aware we required. Daytime dramas like General Hospital and Days of Our Lives were hilarious last week because of two legendary comebacks. But who of the fierce women earned their humorous interpretations? Susan's search now has returned to Salem and is once again on a quest. She seeks to establish her grandson's innocence as a medium in training while learning Stefano was there at the Di Mera mansion. When Hayduk let Susan loose throughout the mansion, the show became a hilarious masterpiece. Susan could be seen hanging across the couch and searching the lamp for any vibe that Stefano could be present when EJ and Chad talked about Johnny's trial. It's unbelievable that we haven't seen Chad and Susan interact for so many years. Those were amusing scenes. Albrecht's one-liners on the July 29th episode of GH. Albrecht has been nothing but sardonic since her recent return to Port Charles, but it was her drunken conversation with Jason that had us laughing out loud. One fan wrote on X, he couldn't take his eyes off her and her antics, while another summarized, Susan being weird around the living room. She started mimicking a wide-eyed Willow after Jason discovered her drinking following Willow and Drew's unofficial wedding, asking, "Did you sleep with my mother?" before she burst out laughing. One viewer commented, Albrecht is hilarious about what happened at the wedding, while another acknowledged, Albrecht is entertaining, but will always be a villain to me. Based on the social media buzz that Albrecht and Susan received for their humorous moments, these two might have tied for bringing some lightheartedness to the daytime last week. Sunny confides in Jason, Anna discovers the truth, and Curtis and Portia get back together. Brennan informed Anna about the WSB's top-secret assignment, Michael told Dante about his suspicions, Curtis and Portia reconciled, and Jason told Sunny about his observations in Paris. Additionally, Willow found a friend in Chase who was helpful, Carly and Lucas worked out their differences, and Marco discovered Sidwell's scheme for Sunny. Spy Games Brennan, who had the police commissioner summoned to his office to inform her that Anna had come dangerously near to jeopardizing a level 5 operation, was the person responsible for her kidnapping. Rather than chastising her, Brennan explained the investigation's specifics, stating that Henry Dalton is working on cold fusion research at PCU. Anna accurately deduced that the WSB had employed a college student named Jocelyn to break into Dalton's lab and that, should the professor succeed, the technology might end up in the wrong hands and be used as a weapon. Jocelyn's status as a full-fledged agent astounded Anna, who thought Brennan had made a grave error by sending a rookie recruit abroad. Anna had no intention of stepping down because her granddaughter Emma was also working on Professor Dalton's research, thus Jack's assurance that Jocelyn and Vaughn were merely on a recon mission was ignored. Brennan threw her double agent history in Anna's face by reminding her that sharing the information he had given her could result in treason charges. Or was it 3? I can't remember. Anna, how many people have you deceived? Anna started to leave the office after retorting that she hadn't misled as many people as Jack did. Brennan threatened to put Anna in Steinmauer the next time she was taken if she tried to obstruct the inquiry. Anna admitted that she was in a tight spot and told Jack that he was also in a box since Carly would not be pleased when she found out that he had enlisted Jocelyn while the young lady was grieving the loss of her partner. When Anna said that she knew he had been a player in the past but had never seen him the way he is with Carly with any other woman, Brennan became even more agitated. Brennan took issue at Anna's accusation that he had manipulated Jocelyn. Jack claimed that the stakes were larger than anyone's personal relationships as they made their way to the reception area, but Anna cautioned him that if Jocelyn's mission goes awry, things with Carly may become sticky. Before returning to his office, Jack insisted that he was sure Jocelyn and Vaughn would return from their recon in Dalmatia unscathed. Anna remembered talking to Jason about Britt, who had been carrying a tote bag from a nearby hotel when he spotted her at the Paris airport, when she heard the resort's location. A sad discovery following a run with Dante, Michael talked candidly about how much he missed Daisy and his belief that Willow had targeted the infant as a form of retaliation. Dante believed that one of their father's enemies might have been responsible for the mind games involving the baby, but after discussing it with his older brother, Michael became even more certain that Willow, not Selena Wu or one of her goons, was the culprit. A large part of me is hoping that I'm wrong, because if my suspicion is true, if it really was Willow, this changes everything. Michael cursed, I can't let Willow anywhere near my kids now that I know the lengths she will go to. Apology tour. In the interim, Chase visited Willow at the hospital to see how she was doing. She inquired about her children's well-being. Willow acknowledged that she needed to improve herself prior to the custody hearing, even though she was briefly distressed to learn how much Wiley and Amelia had changed since she had left their lives. The first step in doing so was accepting responsibility for her part in the judge's ruling and determining how to repair all the harm she had caused. A appreciative Willow gave Chase a hug after he gave his ex-wife a motivational speech and volunteered to speak on her behalf at the custody hearing. Carly found Lucas in the hospital break room and pleaded with her brother to return home. Carly apologized for her remarks on Brad and Marco, and Lucas consented to accept her relationship with Sonny despite his disapproval. Lucas stated that he had no plans to return home due of Sonny, even though the siblings had reconciled. He comforted his agitated sister, I am resigning as your house guest, not as your brother, and she returned the key to the house, allowing him to visit whenever he wanted. Carly encountered Willow and Chase in the corridor after she had parted ways with Lucas. Willow expressed her regret for the incident at Carly's house and stated that her ex-mom-in-law was correct about everything involving Drew. Carly, however, wasn't buying the apology because she had heard similar ones from Willow's late twin sister, Nellie, many times before. Carly spat out, besides, she wasn't the one Willow should be apologizing to, and left while Willow fought back tears. Reunited, and it feels so good. Curtis announced his truce with Drew and invited Portia to the Metro Court to celebrate. Although Portia was skeptical that Drew would truly stop the extortion, Curtis argued that they were safe as long as his old buddy thought Nina, not him, had revealed their romance. In response to Portia's question about whether Curtis was now prepared to fight for their marriage because of the truce with Drew, her husband said that the goal of their date was to figure out how to get back together. He issued a warning, saying, "But this does not mean I'm excusing your actions. It simply indicates that I comprehend. I also apologize for making it difficult for you to confide in me. I own that, and I'll work on it." Acknowledging her role in the problem, Portia acknowledged that her actions were motivated by her fear of losing Curtis, Trina, and her job. The pair toasted their reunion when Curtis disclosed that, despite the commotion, he realized he was wrong to criticize her after seeing how courageous and powerful she was in the face of Drew's attempts at blackmail. Plan B, Tracy met with Marco and Sidwell in another part of the restaurant to let them know that Sonny used money that had been laundered to finance his investment in deception. Tracy chastised Sidwell for withdrawing his financing of Measure C after he told her not to call the police. They were stopped by Ada Turner, who wanted to know why Marco had made up his story about his kidnapping in order to hide the fact that Sonny was responsible. Tracy came to the conclusion that Sidwell pulled out of Measure C under pressure from Sonny rather than voluntarily, since Marco insisted to Justine that he was sticking to his written declaration. Jens winked and said, "I will still be very useful behind the scenes, regardless of my reasons." Despite Tracy's desire to present the authorities with the proof of Sonny's money laundering, Jens and Marco pointed out that the corporation appeared to be at fault because Deception had been keeping the files for months. Additionally, Marco clarified that as soon as Deception surrendered over her possessions, her assets would be frozen. Tracy was unfazed and walked away after refusing to take advice from a man who lives in a faux medieval fortress and associates with Lucy Coe. When Jens was by himself, he questioned why his son had let Sonny to get away with it. Marco responded that it would have been difficult to blame the mafia for his kidnapping. Sidwell disclosed that he had additional evidence against the mobster. If the payment turned out to be real, it would be obvious that Sonny bought off the judge in the custody trial of Sonny's grandchildren, who had been given a sizable, untraceable sum of money on the day the trial concluded. Sidwell claimed that he was only waiting for the ideal moment to trigger the possible cascade of events that would result in the decision being overturned, Willow recovering custody, Michael severing his relationship with his father, and Sonny being forced to comply. Playing hardball after a softball game, Jason and Sonny went to the pool deck for a beverage, and Jason told his friend that he thought Britt was still alive. Jason clarified that while he was speaking with a manager on the phone, he heard Britt's voice in the background and called the resort that was featured on the woman's suitcase at the airport. She was bold and demanding. This was Britt, Jason said, adding that there was no documentation indicating Britt had been cremated. Jason felt he should respect Britt's decision to disappear, but Sonny questioned whether his friend would find her. Sonny went on to say that Jason might want to let Britt know that he's still alive because he was crushed to death in Greece the last time she saw him. Even though Jason was having trouble not contacting Britt, he didn't want to assume that she would want to know that he had survived. Justine went to Jason and Sonny on her way up to the pool deck to congratulate Corinthos Coffee on their victory at the softball game earlier. But then again, breaking the rules regardless of who gets hurt, that's your specialty, isn't it? Shame you had to rig the game to get it, she said, sneering at another person. Given that both teams had a perfect record going into the game, the dimpled Dawn smiled at the ADA before inquiring as to how she believed he had rigged the match against the fire department's squad. Justine stated she was prepared for every tactic used by Corinthos Coffee when they played the PCPD the following night after accusing Sonny's team of breaking the fire department's pitch calls. Sonny promised, "We're going to beat you fair and square." Justine complained, sighing incredulously, "Fair and square?" "Yes. That will be the first time," he said, marching off. Sonny pointed out that an exit was just what he was counting on after Jason made fun of the Associate District Attorney's abrupt departure. He clarified that while Turner was assembling evidence against him, he was noting that each time she interrogated him without his lawyer present, it was biased and that she would have to recuse herself if she ever brought charges. He grinned and said, "She believes she is in charge, but I'm sitting here making all the decisions." Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.